I'm very sad about.
Hang on. Alright, so
Hello, chat.
Nero hi chat.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me. What's
Probably
your
no
Twitch
one's here
channel?
yet, but
Hello,
What's your Twitch channel? I will be there.
it's just Hallow.
Hello. Okay, I'm probably gonna find a million channels with that name, but it's fine. I don't
So
care. You block. Get off my phone. Sorry. Go ahead.
You're fine, you're fine. Yeah. Basically I want you to free ball so I can set up drum and well,
Okay.
set up
I
drum.
got you,
Actually,
okay. No, I'll free ball it. I'll free ball it. It's fine. It's fine.
yeah. So
Block.
basically, we should probably free ball until you're able to get to the net, so you can test the block thing. Yeah. We'll just go back and forth. It'll be fun.
Hold on. Where's Beastieball? Okay, hold on. Categories.
Yep.
Beastieball.
Okay,
The fuck
so
do you mean no Beastieball is live?
why would you
I
want
know
to
for
look
a
up
fact
Hallow?
that is. I looked up Hallow and I found a million people with the name.
It's in chat.
I will
gonna
just.
free ball.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you for forwarding it, Kat.
No problem.
Cool.
There we go.
This will be
Oh, sure,
probably
you gotta fucking, like,
uploaded to YouTube
overlay.
at some point.
What do you want me
Okay.
to do, Pix?
So basically, you're gonna free ball me. I'm gonna drum, and then you're gonna block just to see what the interaction's like.
Okay, you
Okay.
have flow on shortcake. No, you have all right.
Oh yeah, end turn. Thank you.
All right, y'all.
Yeah.
We got some patch notes. Let's get into these. I know that other people in call have looked at these already, but I was busy playing Blood on the Clock Tower, so I was busy. New experimental balance patch. A whole bunch of balance changes, new features apparently.
That's scary, Pix. That's scary, Pix.
Okay.
Hold on, I need to focus on stream.
Oh my gosh, we got a Plumask trait.
Fuck.
First
Yes.
thing.
Yeah, Plumask.
Stagecraft. When field has Rally or Dread, this beastie never takes more than 66 damage from attacks. Holy shit, dude. That's so
I know,
cool.
fucking Plumask upscales. Let's fucking go. I'm gonna run this thing now. My god.
I love to see it. I love to see another ability that interacts with Dread that isn't just, like Hardy or Unflappable, because those two are a little more universal than Dread. It's nice to have something that is specifically like, this is a Dread strategy. And that's really cool.
This might be me reading too deep into it, but if I remember right, like Warmask and Kalarva have some like emotional stuff going on in their entries.
Yeah, I think so.
For Warmask, this beastie hides in its cocoon and pilots a constructed decoy. They may build masks and experiment with personas they might grow into. And Plumask can manipulate emotions with potent pheromones. Anyone who touches their mask made from all material they've collected from as a pupa
Seems like
will face their wrath.
stagecraft to me.
Yeah,
I could make so many in Stars and Times
really
jokes about
cool.
this.
Yo, don't spoil anything. That game is peak.
It is. There's no
Anyway.
reason. It's my icon.
Yes. Anyway, huge hype about this. Plumask losing Performer is, that's fine. It becomes a bit less of like a spirit tank in Rally. That's probably fine. It's nice because I think the reason why Plumask didn't ever really run Dread before was because it always wanted to run Shield. This means that it no longer has to run Shield. It does not have to run Shield in order to survive an attack from a body beastie.
It just lives.
It just lives. It only takes 66 damage. That is a really cool trait. I'm excited to see Plumask do cool things. Precise.
It's very nice.
Precise nerfed. Sideways attacks do 3/4 times the damage and ignore all shields and redirection. Great stuff. Illigus has had it too good for too long. I don't think I need to talk about that one too much.
I like for this that there is still a technical buff to Illugus here because it does ignore shields. So all you Illugus players out there, no, you got something. Still.
I missed that.
I will not.
I missed
I didn't
that.
see that bit.
Ignoring shields is real interesting. I think the big issue with Illigus was the fact that like a +2 dump is, kind of
Unmovable.
a huge deal if it can't be redirected to the back. But ignoring shields is a nice little, like, upscale to sort of lessen the blow of the three quarters the damage.
I do also like that sneak attack is no longer the literal best serve in the game like it usually is. On
that
Illigus.
was
That's
kind of a
cool.
huge issue. Like, the fact that Illigus would invalidate so many strategies like Slippery and Watchtower was always really annoying. This is by proxy a bit of a like Watchtower upscale, a bit of a Gremler upscale, just
Like,
because
they deserve it,
Illigus
though.
won't be running around doing precise things quite as hard as it was before.
They deserve it. They deserve it.
That's probably fine. Gremler might be a little more of an issue now that it doesn't have that sort of hard check, and like Raw Fury is the only thing that ignores the redirection. But
fine
hey,
because Maverick
maybe people will. Maverick exists, and maybe people will start running Lock Target.
Real.
Real.
Greg and Damien's comment being the intention of Precise has always been to force opponents to cover lanes to avoid free points rather than utilizing redirection, but with lots of damage boosting, this could put opponents into no-win scenarios too easily. Very true. This refactor keeps the most threatening targeting options open, but also makes them less effective as kill options. Very good stuff. Yeah, part of the issue was Illigus Dump couldn't be taken from the back lane. So, like, whereas Bindiva Dump is obviously off a much higher mind attack stat, you could just Clamor it, or you could, Watchtower it, or Watchtowering it obviously a little bit harder, but...
Okay, wait. If I remember correctly, hold on, let me check. Yeah, Illugus Trapper got buffed last patch. Precise is getting nerfed slightly this one.
Yeah,
I like this.
it's
The
good
implications
stuff.
are dazzling.
And speaking of, we'll have another one of those in a second. First of all, Muscle Brain, damage down from 1.3 to 1.2. That's good. Muscle Bound was kind of too strong for a while.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, speaking
Shout out
of...
to Grit Heatwave, God.
Yeah, speaking though of traits getting upscaled while others get downscaled, we see Echo buff to 1 times the damage. Very good buff. No one used this.
What is Echo?
Echo is Maraptor's trait that is not Clemmer. Now it deals...
it's a signature trait.
Yeah, it's its signature trait. Now it deals full damage, in addition to adding Quake instead of the 3/4 damage. The 3/4 was kind of a relic from when it was spread damage, when I think it was probably a bit more balanced. This is a good change. Echo was not very good, and now it will be better. I mean, Maraptor can now set Quake at no damage penalty, which is kind of huge.
That's really good. No, because that's an upscale.
No,
Lunoptra
it has
is better
good
than
attacking
people.
moves.
Lunoptra is better than people give it credit for, and they
Oh,
only
I
use
wasn't
it as
even
a
on
survivor
Vampire
trait.
yet.
You're not even
Oh, no.
there yet.
I was on Echo.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I heard 1/4.
Well,
I heard
listen.
one. I heard something 4th. Sorry about
I am-
that.
Yeah,
I'm
3/4.
No, but my
Speaking
Echo's
of which,
better
though,
too, and I'm really trying
yeah,
to pick
I'm just glad that Echo no longer is like a hindrance,
Oh,
because
hi, Robin.
Quake, while useful, like, isn't worth limiting your damage output significantly. Now it's like Maraptor can click Spike and cause Quake with Spike, one of the best body moves in the game. That's huge. Anyway, yes, as mentioned, Vampire, up to 1/4 of damage dealt from 1/6. Big stuff. Awesome. Love seeing it. I love Lunoptra. I've never really been quite sure how to use it personally, but I think that's just a me thing. I know other people have good success with it. This will be a nice buff for vampire builds. I think Survivor definitely saw a lot more use because it's, fairly easy to get set up, and then Lunoptra just takes shit for 8 turns. Or 4 turns, really. But that's a very nice buff.
I'm gonna be
means
honest, I
that-
was thinking about asking for a buff like that recently, but I was like, is that too much? Do they want it to be? I think it is good. I think it is earned. Hello, I'm the dread user.
Me too, man.
The dread user is here. Hello, Robin.
the
Yeah,
dread enjoyer,
suddenly
anything
there
on it?
are
Excited,
two
this
more
is a
people in
buff
call.
for like every beastie I use.
I know,
This is-
right? Like
it's so-
Nerf Strike
this-
buff too. Ugh.
Do they ever fail on these patch notes? We aren't even fucking through the thing. I'm sorry.
yeah, we have ages more to go, but it's great stuff. I mean, you can. I think Vampire is now just better in general. Doesn't even have to be in Dread itself. Obviously, will be a lot better in Dread because part of the issue with Lunaptra on Dread is, it doesn't have the same longevity that, say, like a Dugout or a Hardy Apostle would have. So now having that ability to restore even more stamina for itself, like you can click Power Sap and restore like 30 stamina now. Good stuff. That's pretty big for its survivability, and it really leans into that like style that it has as a survival beastie, despite having also a very, very good attack stat.
Yeah.
Like Heliath has 2 extremely good offensive traits. Now Lunaptra has, instead of 1 really good and 1 okay defensive trait, it has 2 really good defensive traits. Welcoming, nerfed slightly, 5 HP less, 5 stamina less, down to 35 from 40. Bongus was kind of everywhere recently. I think that's a good change. I don't really have a massive comment on that. I don't think that'll make Welcoming not good. I think it'll just make it slightly less overbearing, because I think a lot of the top teams recently have been using Welcoming Bongus. Like I know Dino's been using it, Zonk's been using it. Not sure about who else, because I haven't kept all that in tune with the meta. But it's good stuff. Stirring reflects negative feelings onto both opponents now.
I am very excited about this.
This
one.
Oh
patch
my
is-
gosh.
No, I'm excited too. I took a Plumask to my fucking Crown Series team, and I'm like, man, this beastie's so bad. No longer.
No longer.
I am so excited about
I was-
this.
I've been the Plumask believer since before anyone played with it. I am beyond happy to see it get stronger. Stirring it was what I used in my story playthrough. It has its legs. It is keeping him.
Like, dude, fuck yes. It's always so nice. It's always so nice. Life can be so easy if you two are named Plumask. Remember this, folks.
Yeah.
It wasn't for a
Also,
while, but now things are looking up. I am very excited about
That is
this.
a beautiful Joyan sound, whoever.
Yes,
that
it is.
was.
That was.
Oh god, it's a new person.
Yes, that was Sky Blue Star Moon. Anyway. Yeah, stirring getting a buff is super exciting, because I mean in casual it was like I used that in my casual because I had, despite having Surgus and Plumask on my casual team, I didn't set up Rally ever because I also had a Mind Beastie in Bandicraft. But this will be nice for casual play as well, because it means like, I mean, casual play is great. I can imagine this enabling some very silly strategies against Callisto in particular. But like where who she's going to stare down on defense on turn 1. But other than that, it's like it punishes the AI from... I don't know if Stirring reflects Shook. I'd assume it probably does. I know that like Drum doesn't prevent Shook, but if Stirring reflects Shook, then that's good stuff. Like Stinky...
It does.
Yeah, okay. So very, very exciting. Makes applying feelings to Plumask a lot harder to justify. I don't know if it counts angry. Does it count angry?
It does count
Probably
angry.
does.
God damn.
And, yeah,
You
if
can't
the spell
provoke
affects
this thing.
it,
That's
you can't provoke it, you can't
exciting.
spell it, you can't challenge it.
That's really exciting.
no, I-
Barging in, by the way, I just got excited because the Mullipede win.
Oh,
you are
yeah,
literally
it looks like we're
so
getting there.
goddamn chill.
Okay.
You are so damn chill.
New plays.
I know, I'm gonna have my fucking thing.
New plays. We have Flatten, body attack, 75 power, times 1.5 if field has any effects. Clears all field effects. Good stuff. We need more stuff that cleans field effects. Clearfield
Wait.
was, Clearfield is also apparently getting a buff here. We'll get to that in a second. But only having clear field and cleanup was kind of really hard, made dealing with field effects really hard, because let's be real, you're not running Spreco if you're trying to play at a top level, and clear field is hard to fit on every team. Looks like they have some comments on that down here. We'll get to that in a second. Millimine and Demolipede learn it up via level up. So does Spreco. That's exciting. So, I mean, you could run this on any of the Sprecomorphs. It's fun. Instant thought of a really exciting set. Shloom with Dreadful Mist and Flatten.
Sounds terrifying. I love it.
If you somehow trait dance
I
Thief
just put it
onto
together.
that,
That's mean.
yeah, you put
that's-
Shloom in the front row. You volley to Shloom. You use Flatten. You get a 105 power body attack from the front row. It's I suppose not that much stronger than another body attack, but it's a fun thing to do because it means you have a whole bunch of mix-ups. Like, are you going to click the body move? Are you going to click cut shot or dump? Because you probably might also do that with Shloom. Via friendship, Castlete gets it. Cool. Deluja gets it. Yeah, love to see that.
They gave Castlete Spike. They gave Castlete Spike. We're so fucking back.
We have Spike at home? I told you.
Also-
This is not Spike. This is not Spike. Yeah, what's up?
It's Spike. It's better Spike because it
I
clearly
was
doesn't-
thinking about. It's probably not going to help that much, but I was like, wow, if they use Rumble in the fight, you could probably remove it. But I was like, wait, that only works if you block. So I was like, wait.
Oh
never
no,
mind.
that's the other thing is if people using like Rumble or Eruption on their turns is actually going to save me instead of harm me now. I have the weapon, you fiend, and you will never take it away from me.
Also, kind of sad about the welcoming nerf, but at least it's only 5.
Hey, we'll get
Could
there.
be
We'll get
worse.
there. Oh yeah, the welcoming nerf. Yeah, we did already get there.
I already talked about it. Yeah, you already talked about it.
Okay.
challenge
Trat gets
already.
it. Let's go. Trat moves. I love seeing Trat get moves.
Oh hell yeah! I forgot. I
means
didn't see that. Yo,
It
Trat.
It doesn't have to
Trat
tag out to clean up.
the
Love to see
strategy,
that.
let's go.
Trat's
Even better now.
gonna be now very good at just keeping fields clear, and that's exciting. And it doesn't have
I need
an
to remind
awful
you
body
that
attack.
Trat gets juggle as well.
Trat does get juggle. That's exciting
I love
stuff.
love that.
Notably won't synergize that well if you want to run traps on it, but I mean, you're probably not going to be running traps on it if you run this. Although you could run traps on it if you run
There's a
this.
self-selection
Me.
bias. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's always a matter of synergy or having different options.
Yeah, certainly a good option for it to have. Ymith also gets it. That's fine.
Real life, can't wait to try this against the
Honestly,
Rowdies.
Yamith has not been excessively used to my knowledge. I think it has a lot of potential that's not been seen yet.
I've seen a lot of it. I'll be real. Like, Majesty is just a good trait. There's a lot of spirit attackers running around at the moment. We'll see if that keeps going now that there's more ways to clear rally. But Ymith, I've seen quite a bit of Ymith. I assume we will be seeing a little bit more of it now that it has this nice utility
boy.
option. Clear Field restores 10 stamina to your entire team from 8. Good stuff. Up until now, keeping the field clear has always been difficult and costly in terms of action economy. This has made it difficult to disrupt field-focused strategies, including Rhythm, Rally, and Trap. We're providing higher value and more convenient field clearing tools to help mitigate the strength of these play tiles, as well as combo damage potential utilizing your own field effects. Yeah, love to see that. I've always found Clearfield is I think a sleeper healing move, because if you can, get a couple beasties on the field that can stay there for a while, like for example, on a couple teams I have like a Beetleback that uses Clearfield. What you can do is you can have it sort of sit on the field for a while and just survive, and click Clearfield a few times, getting your beasties in the back healed up again, and also, keeping the field effects away, which is obviously very useful stuff. Big stuff.
Yeah,
There's one
speaking
encounter
of-
that has me a little scared, but that I'll deal with that when I get to it at some point.
Oh yeah?
I have the implications.
Yes, the
use it
restorative
on one of my-
implications.
Yeah, that's
I use Clearfield on one of my drum teams, the one with both drum and Clearfield on it, because sometimes I like to click clear field into drum, so it's more healing for healing.
More healing per
that's
healing.
Really mean of you, by the way.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
And okay, it's fine. I'll just wait
Yeah.
for drum to go down.
Yeah, this'll
Shit.
be good for casual players as well. I think it just incentivizes use of the move more. Like, it just makes it more usable all around. That isn't even just in competitive. And
I do know that if I were to have seen Flatten on something like my Castle, or like something like Millimine, and then on the Sprecko and Castle and my Sprecko were always in the same group. Castle learning Flatten would be that's so cool for me at least. So I'm excited for all the Kitschik players on
And
the
the
casual
players
team.
probably gonna get it from
That too,
your
yeah.
Eating well.
I am assuming this will certainly be a friendship move and probably not be obtained by all that many Kitschik players. Oh wait, never mind. Sorry, it will be obtained by all Kitschik players because Sprecko gets it by level up. I kind of missed that one.
I was gonna call you on that, but you're the streamer, and I can't. Quite...
No worries.
For information purposes, they get flattened at level 43.
Oh, level 43. Okay, yeah, they probably won't get it then.
And also, the Maltese is a nice snag.
I do like the flavor of Sprecko getting it though. They are kind of the anti-field effect beastie.
Sprecko, yeah, it's really
They
cool.
squish. They squish.
Moving
if
forward,
They flatten me.
we have a
do
whole
literally-
bunch of power nerfs here. Most important one, huge dump nerf. New effect, might attack, 60
A
power.
huge what now?
Used from net, targets front row, same stuff. Power times 1.5 if user has 2+ actions. So it'll still be a 90 power move if you decide not to use a support move or if you have to move up to use it. The way I see this, this is Greg making it, again, more like true volleyball. Like something they mentioned in previous patch notes is like how a setter dump works. In that, the person who would be setting the ball otherwise dumps it sort of over the net. So it's like a little bit unexpected. It's now a weaker move, but more effective if you don't use it. If you use it, earlier than your opponent might expect you to attack, which is, very equivalent to the real life thing. Greg's comment in True Volleyball, a dump is only effective when used as a second touch instead of passing to a valid attacker. This new design simulates its iconic real-world counterpart. It means that dump is still usable in all the ways it was before, but requires planning to unlock its full potential. Dump was
I like that a lot.
Dump was the single most centralizing move in the game. I am very glad to see this nerf, but at the same time, it is still going to be a threat. I think less so, honestly. Like, Iligas, obviously, still good with dump. It's not going to be blowing people up quite as much, because, you can play around it and force Iligas to not be able to click dump if you, say, hit into it rather than the Bandicraft it's next to, for example. I think Bindiva is gonna...
Bindiva, excuse me.
Bindiva. I always forget which one it is. I think I asked Greg one day and he confirmed that it was Bindiva, and then ever since then I've been saying Bindiva, even though I had been saying Bindiva at first.
Hold on. Dump, nerf, and change in how it works. Believe it or not, thief upscale. Hold on a second.
It's not a
huge
thief
upscale.
It isn't a thief upscale. As an avid Bindiva user, whichever one you want to go for. The thing about it is,
to the net is very funny. Also, I need to go to
Net
the
rush,
net.
yeah.
yes, net rush dump is super interesting. But that does mean you have to dedicate a move slot to net rush, which isn't really something that Bindiva wants to do. A lot of the time,
just counter serve, assess, net rush, dump, absolutely terrifying. But that's still
yes,
a little more work than just, hey, have a captain beastie.
It's more work. It's more work than a captain. But the other thing is, you need to run net rush in order to not have the counterplay of Bindiva, being able to, be hit by it. And if Bindiva takes the attack, if it doesn't have dump, which a lot of the time it won't, because you probably want to run Sneak or Spitball as an attacking move as well, so it can serve and deal a bunch of damage and do nice effective things. Sometimes you want Quick Set, sometimes you want Assess, sometimes you want Shield. It has a whole lot of, you really need to find exactly what its niche is on your team and lean into that a lot. You can't have it do everything that it wants to be able to do on all sorts of different teams. So I think that's overall, it is a bit of a downscale. It is fun in that, it does even more damage and is even more threatening if you can get the dump off. So like huge stuff there. Yeah, but super excited to see this nerfed. It was way centralizing. Speaking of other things that have been centralizing lately, Hyperspike, nerfed to 125 from 135. That's good. Survey's Hyperspike was ridiculous. Riplash Hyperspike was ridiculous.
Yes.
Brasleiden Hyperspike was not quite as ridiculous, but still very, very good because, Miracle Play and all that.
I'm just glad the shark will no longer say, well, it's still going to be a menace, but not as bad. Just slightly.
Not quite as bad,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Glad to see that. I do like having this game be a little more strategic because definitely in previous Big Moons, I think it was partially before the D-set nerf, but there was like one team that everyone and their mother ran into in a Big Moon, which had basically D-set Bandicraft into Hyperspike Surveys, and just nothing survives that.
Someone did point out, it was like, blocking a Plume Mask, and now your team also is blocked. You can't do it.
Yes, Little Evan pointing that out in chat. Super excited stuff. But yeah, more things nerfed. Challenge, power to 85 from 90, good stuff. Challenge was just sort of everywhere this last patch. I love the change to it. I love that it makes the Beastie it hits angry. We do need more options for angry because it is kind of the most important status effect.
Yeah. Need the nettle counters.
Everyone was clicking this. I think the biggest offender, it could be Heliath, you could say, because, that's the highest attack stat that uses it regularly, but Apostle was probably the biggest threat with it just because of how strong competitive was. So now, it's going to be doing a little bit less damage, and once it boosts up, it's going to be doing a little bit more less damage, which is good stuff because that thing was a massive threat, if not overused because of it. Ego Blast downscaled slightly. It had previously been buffed to 85 from 70, now down to 80 from 85. I think that's a fine change. With the other Plumask buffs seeing as Plumask is kind of the only one that runs Ego Blast besides maybe Skullcabby sometimes. That's a fine change, not much to comment on there. Dive nerfed to 55 from 60, good stuff. Dive has always been kind of ridiculous on especially Crabrawler, that's a Pokemon. Crabberay.
Yeah.
They do similar things. Yeah, Dive, Crabberay, definitely the biggest one. Masquerie, also huge. I forget if Musclebound gets it and uses it. I think they don't, just because they have so much better options in the way of stuff that Muscle Brain gives. But either way, good nerf. A little sad for all of the beasties that don't get quite as much out of Dive, like your Daredillos. I'm a fan of Daredillo Dive.
Superlero comes to mind.
Which, sorry? Supilero? Yeah, true.
What I need is people to nerf Dive, Juggle, Merchant, Supilero, so that people start running the no attack Supilero. I know my boy was built to bit.
Oh, I've built so many teams that I never actually properly finished or tested that have a no attack Supilero. It's super
quick
fun.
tag. Forward pass, quick tag, mighty yell. All I'm trying to say. You guys are missing out.
Or introduce.
Mine has provoke because
Smile.
I'm like, well, if I want to keep it in, I might as well just click provoke and then leave it.
Yeah. Supilero is a fun one. But again, Dive nerf is a little sad for it, but I feel like it didn't run it that much anyway because, frankly, it's not its best option. It's more of a stay on the field kind of beastie and use quick tag rather than get quick tagged in. I suppose it was pretty good with, tagging in and diving, so it's a little sad to see Juggle do that. Juggle and Dive both nerfed for it. It'll be doing fine. It'll still do all its defensive stuff just as well, as Nero mentioned. Heat Wave. New effect. Every non-sweaty fielded player feels 1 sweaty. I love that this got nerfed. Combinations that utilize Heat Wave have been oppressively strong. Its capacity to add as many as 4 stacks of sweaty to the field can make it game-warpingly powerful. True. This adjusted version makes the play far less valuable to use as the match wears on and creates a distinct use case from plays like Heat Up, which can continue stacking sweaty on opponents throughout the match. Love to see this. Love to see plays getting like more distinction from each other. I think one of the strong points in this game is that every single play does something different. And Heat Up did not really see much use simply because Heat Wave was just so much better. You could click it turn after turn after turn if you have, say, like, I think a common team combo I saw often was Scaldra Dugout or Mudsley Dugout, which, you know, has either a Sauna Beastie, which is making all of those sweat stacks deal more damage, which is, you know, ridiculous when you can continue stacking an extra one onto both beasties on the opposing field every turn. Or Mudsley, where you can, you know, get a stack on each of the opposing beasties every single turn at no penalty to yourself because you have a Mudsley which can't feel sweaty and a Dugout which doesn't take damage from sweaty. So, like, big stuff there. Very excited to see that be nerfed a bit, as I feel like it was not necessarily a centralizing play because I suppose at top level it was pretty centralizing. A lot of people used Heat Wave. They have other ideas to mitigate this play's effectiveness, but they want to take the lightest touch to hopefully maintain its capacity to reward clever team building. I love seeing that. They are testing things out before just nerfing something into the ground. Always good. I think this will put it in a much nicer place in the meta, just in terms of it's still a very valuable move, but now it's like it's not going to be your defensive move on both of your first 2 turns when you're counter-serving. Snipe buffed to 65 from 60, or if you talk to Prin, that's a nerf.
Crafty Snipe shot dead in Miami.
Crafty Snipe is dead. I am so sorry, Prin specifically.
Sloom was never supposed to be able to Crafty Snipe. I'm sorry, y'all.
So yeah, if you use Trait Dance Magpike, that's a little bit sad for you. Otherwise, that's a nice little buff. Makes it more usable on Platypulse, Platian, Illigus, Shloom not running Trait Dance. Or not running specifically Trait Dance Magpike. Excited to see that. Snipe's a really cool move, and it's always felt like a little bit underpowered, except for that very niche, you know, Trait Dance Crafty on Shloom and blow things up scenario. Nerve Strike. Now double the power if target has a bad feeling. I'm so excited about this. Yeah, Greg and Damien's comment, these plays are cool, but typically haven't been rewarding enough to be useful. Very true. I've always looked at Nerve Strike and thought, like, I used Nerve Strike a bunch in my casual playthrough, and I always look at it in competitive, I'm like, oh, that would be so cool with this Plumas, but it sucks. It doesn't deal as much damage as anything else.
I tried to use it on the ancient pliers, and it was just like, dang.
It is a little sad.
You know, today's just kind of not my day. I'm feeling a little bit down. Meditate, tactical pass, Nerve Strike.
Yeah, very, very exciting to see this. Like, that's sick for Garud, it's sick for Plumask. I think Albrax gets it as well.
Dude, fuck Garud.
Mystic as well. No. I run it on my Dread team. I am very excited for this buff. It's especially good as another measure to make Heat Wave less appealing as a serve option.
So what you're telling me is that we can put Mystic and Plumask on the same team and they work together now.
Yeah.
So
the
awesome.
implications are dazzling. I love these.
Man, if only one of those two got repositioned, so you could just do what you do with Trat next to Mystic.
Also,
anyway.
How about we don't?
I am not suggesting they get it.
I'm forwarding an example in the chat of a charge plenty on using the new Nerf Strike.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it does some
Oh.
damage.
That's
No,
exciting.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. That's really fun.
Knight who says yes comments, surprised Grit went unscathed. Grit wasn't really unscathed. The reason why Grit wasn't unscathed is, well, first of all, Dugout has been nerfed like 2 patches in a row. The other thing is Heatwave nerf actually really affects Grit quite a lot. Because part of the reason Grit was such a massive threat is because of all of those sweaty stacks that you had to deal with, meaning that your beasties were all weakened and continued getting weaker as you played with them, and it was very difficult to mitigate this.
I can't. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Just like Dugout not being able to get your entire team down to 60 in a couple turns and kind of just chill there and click cook once or twice. Now, it has to deal with you being at 80 or 70 rather than 60 or 50. And that means it has to do more damage, which it can do sometimes for sure, but it's going to have to, it won't always be able to do that. The other thing is, Musclebound likewise also hit by the Heatwave nerf, but Muscle Brain got nerfed, so Grit coming off of Musclebound won't be quite as strong anymore either.
Which I think is also quite reasonable, given the sheer power level available.
Yeah, can't wait to dust off my vicious Plateon and see how it goes.
No, it's so fine because
I think it will certainly go.
Well,
Sir.
yeah.
Oh man. This
Oh,
patch is
wait.
fucking. Sorry, we're not even
Scarlet
fucking
fight
done yet.
up yet? Hang on.
All right,
'Cause I want
I got
to build.
on to Beastie changes. Debugly gets Dispel, Telekinesis, and Assess.
what?
Fun stuff. I do like Dispel on Debugly. Study
I do like this spell. I do like this.
Study is a trait which has kind of struggled because it's just like, well, don't hit Debugly. Now it has a way to deal with the fact that if you don't hit it, and Telekinesis as well. Both of these moves are actual like hidden study upscales because basically it has ways to punish you now for hitting its teammate rather than it. So you can choose between giving it a defense boost or giving it a telekinesis or dispel, which is super big because obviously this thing clicks, if this thing clicks assess, then meditate, then telekinesis, you are not surviving whatever attack is coming your way. That's very exciting. Debugly has sort of long struggled a little bit with not having super good move options. Like its strongest mind moves are Rainbow and Tool, and then after that I think it gets like Numb Shot. So I'm excited to see, despite it not getting any new attacking moves, it has ways to boost its ability to deal damage, which I think is super exciting for the Beastie with, like, I think the 3rd highest mind attack in the game. Good stuff. Fourth highest. Schloom is there.
I think my panic is like, oh no, I need to check one of the coaches.
Yeah, Riven might suddenly become more scary with this. We'll see about that. I'm not excited for the potential for that messing up the speedrun a whole bunch. We'll see how that goes. Illigus gets Slice. That's good stuff. I hope the Rowdy Beastie gets that in the story.
Okay, no, I'm confused. I'm confused at that change. Illugus ever lost Slice?
It never had
Never
Slice.
had it.
No,
Never had
I
Slice.
ran Slice on Illugus.
Hey.
Precise Slice on Illugus one patch. The first iteration of my Illugus on my Castlate team.
Are
I
you
know that
sure
'cause
you
I
were not
wanted-
running Trickspin?
I'm
Yeah,
pretty
you could've
sure I
run
was
Trickspin.
running.
I
It
could
was
check
one of
the
those goddamn
patches.
moves. It might have been Trickspin.
It was
I
probably
do-
Trickspin. I don't believe it ever had Slice.
I do get those. I do get those two mixed up constantly.
It was
Yeah.
probably
This is fair.
All right.
They are the same move in my brain.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. Grant remembers.
So
Grant remembers.
slice nice for
Grant.
Illigus.
I don't know why I called you Grant.
That provides a nice, like, sort of mid-damage move that it can use from the back row and make use of precise trick spin was always kind of sad and not really seen very much, simply because Dump was just that much better. I think this will see some use for sure. Magpike gets Tool. Huge fan of this. I love Magpike so much.
We were
Trusting
just talking about
Magpike.
it last night. I'm so glad.
Trusting
Wait, I need to
Magpike now
Yeah, I
has
need
a
to
damage
put on
option
Magpike.
that isn't called
Trusting
Heartbreaker.
Oh,
I was
am
using
going to
Trusting
go with
Magpike
you.
in the most recent bash,
Believe
and
it.
having to use Heartbreaker was just a little bit sad. I'm super
Believe
excited
it.
about this.
My builder
Believe
routes
it.
are built on Trusting Magpike, and it's just like, man, kind of
Oh,
sad. Only
can I-
option got like
can I-
Heartbreaker.
Can I go back to Plumask for a second?
Sure, briefly.
Because I've just realized with Stagecraft, your bulk doesn't really matter if you're in Dread.
Yeah.
So you can just run 2 attacks.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
That's the implications of dazzling.
It's like its spirit and mind defense are already pretty good. The mind defense, I guess, is kind of iffy. I always forget that it's like 80. It feels like it should be more, but it isn't.
but like
Probably
on rally
because
teams,
my
this thing is
Plumask in my playthrough probably had like plus 30 mind defense from being next to my Bandicraft. But yeah, you don't really have to invest in body defense quite as much anymore. You can run, dual attacking Plumask, which is super exciting because I think dual attacking is something that has been really hard to run on anything not named like Shloom or Yamith.
I got a reason to do some Iron Man stuff tomorrow, probably.
Yeah, exciting stuff. Platypulse loses demanding set.
Good.
Fuck!
The duality of coach.
I'm so
I
tired
actually
of his resets. I'm so tired of him.
Mixed
He's
feelings on this, but let's see what
Uh,
others have to say.
Yeah, I
think Greg. I think Benny Beastieball has made a mistake. I think he should reinstate demanding set on Platinum.
I think this is fine.
No,
I will
Platypulse.
note I scrolled down a
Whatever.
bit. Platinum also does lose it here. I was
Yeah.
curious if it was
Fuck.
going to keep it, but hey, D-set being exclusive to Bandicraft, I think is probably fine.
It's probably better. He's the volley beast.
It does feel like it should be an exclusive move. I am a little sad to see this move lose some ability to be used because, frankly, after the nerfs, it's a cool move. But I do think that, honestly, the way D-set got changed was kind of an upscale for Platypulse, which I'm not entirely sure it needed. So I think this is a fine nerf. Like, I don't think this is going to affect Platypulse's viability all that much.
I think it adds some character to Bandicraft as like a beastie as well. That it's the only captain archetype that can support every single type of attacker on its team at once.
Yes, very true. Although it probably won't be running captain if it's using D-set.
By exception fraud.
I mean, you'll still run captain off it. Just
That's fair. Yeah, so you can volley normally. That's fair.
What I do is I run full focus so that if they trait dance my demanding setting Bandicraft, they don't get captain. No free handouts from me.
Yes, true. Noizard sees some defense nerfs. Body defense down to 50 from 55. Mind defense down to 85 from 90. Love to see that. This thing, I'm a little sad to see that because frankly I do use this on almost every team, but that's kind of the problem is that
I do think it made the right choice of what to nerf though, because the spirit defense is the #1 thing I would say it has over Maraptor.
Yes, yeah. I do think that's a very good point, Robin. Just like the fact that it has spirit defense, Maraptor does not. That creates a little bit more of a niche apart from the other Climber Beasties, so they're not kind of doing the same thing. Obviously, they already had some differences, like Noizard has more utility moves, whereas Maraptor has stuff like Tactical Pass. So I like to see the two Climber Beasties getting a bit more of a unique identity. I also think this thing was just too good as glue for teams. So I think
Noizard fits on literally every team at this point, yeah? There's
a reason it was on like 30% of teams in the bash before this one. This is good. I don't think I need to add much more.
I had to take a moment to remember. It's like, why am I so excited? I don't remember many Noizards. I was like, oh yeah, Elena.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, PvP exists. The casual players won't notice this one very much. I don't think it'll make Elena potentially a little bit easier. Who knows?
I'm like, hey.
Oh, Elena is a joke right now.
Poor old wolf.
Making the meme team easier is great in my book.
I need to edit my stream layout again because so many people are here. One sec, let me move the Discord call up.
Join the Beastieball voice chat server, y'all.
The people are going crazy.
Yes.
The Beastieball news of the day.
Link it in the
The
chat 'cause
people
I
love to
basically
beast. The people love to
snuck my
ball.
way in.
Okay.
I would send a link in the chat because I plug
I will.
everything
I will
do.
post a link in chat once we are done with
No, but
this.
I've already used my phone number to verify the stupid meme account Ashley wanted me to make, so I have to go switch to that later.
What's
All right.
the next one on the list?
Couple changes. Mystic, 80 mind defense from 70. Not sure how I feel about that one. I think its mind defense wasn't its weak point already. This thing was already kind of... I always found Mystic kind of deceptively mind bulky because it would usually just run a bunch of mind defense. So I don't think this is honestly that huge a change, but it does mean that you really have to wall break it with Spirit now, and I'm not quite sure how I feel about that at the moment. But are there any Mystic users in chat who can speak to how sad the 70 mind defense was, or was it not sad?
My eyes are very slowly traveling. My eyes are very slowly traveling down the chat.
I never really had much of an issue, but again, you know me. But
I think I like Mystic's role, and I like how this sort of boosts its role. Obviously, hard countered by Rally most of the time, but combined with Plumask, I think this is going to make a lot of sense.
Yeah, for sure. It's certainly great for Mystic users. I just think that it's an upscale that I'd be interested. I think Mystic is going to have a very significant place in the meta with that upscale. Obviously, if Rally sticks around as much as it has been, despite all of the changes above, where it gets where there's a whole bunch of field clearing now, I think this will be a threat in the meta. Zephyr nerf down to 89 spirit power from 92, 85 mind defense from 88. Air Blast is still very strong.
I was very surprised every time I looked up, like, oh yeah, what's the most defensive tornado ballers? Zephyr.
Sorry. I'm also just a little, because, having a bird that ignores, like, specific traits, I'm like, yes, like smack them.
Yeah, I think this is just good for making Air Blast a healthy move in PvP, because despite it already getting its power nerfed a bit, it's still very strong.
If you do not have Shield or Cyclone on the right Beastie, it is, I wouldn't say unstoppable, but it's not easy.
Yeah, because usually it's whenever you see a Zephyr with Air Blast, it's gonna be supported by like Captain Faith Tortanker. It's going to be like something else with Faith that can, get it to the front row easily.
I had earlier today. I encountered a Watchtower Blaze set.
Oh boy, yeah. I suppose if you have probably forward pass Demolitude along with Blaze. That's
forward pass. And one thing that surprised me was not changed this time around. Is no change to Demolipede and Doze. That's a big...
Hey, we'll see about that. I do note that there is no Demolipede change. I think that is probably all right. It is hard to deal with.
Here's what we do about Doze Demolipede, is we make the spirit attackers even stronger.
Alternatively, you click provoke.
This is true. Yeah, just
Hydrolm up to 75 body power from 70. That's awesome. It was always real hard to justify running body moves on this thing. Now it's a little bit easier. Love to see more ability to run mixed attackers. Tortanker, body power up to 70 from 65, body defense down to 110 from 115. That's fine. Captains are very powerful. This one was this one the strongest in the most recent bash? Probably.
Yeah, that was the most recent.
I was running Beetleback personally, but that's just me. And the teams I built.
Was it the most used?
Beetleback beat it in top 50 usage. It barely beat Beetleback. Tortanker barely beat Beetleback in general usage, and then Beetleback beat it in top 50.
But then I remember it being different for the most used, like, top ranked beasts.
Yeah, they flipped.
1 second. The most used beastie in the top 50% was Plateon. Fuck. I can't even fight these nerfs. God damn it.
Right.
Yeah. Second most was Zephyr.
Yep.
Can't justify those.
All right, so yeah, Tord Anchor getting a little bit of a body power buff. That's kind of nice, especially considering Shanty, which was added in last patch. This gives it, a little more reason to attack off the body side, which is good stuff. I like to see defensive beasties that can also do a little bit of damage. Riplash, body and spirit defense buffs reverted, I believe. I think those were the 2 changes that happened last patch. It was already a very strong beastie before those got changed, so I think that's just... if someone could go look at the previous patch notes and confirm if that's like just a straight reversal of what happened in the last one, or if it was a mind defense buff. I'm glad to see that. This thing needed to not be bulky.
I can't wait to cheer high slam the Tortanker again.
I will say I would like to remind us all that this thing also has Vigor Beam.
It certainly does have Vigor Beam. Squimmage,
that's gonna be awesome.
up to 46
no
spirit
consequences.
defense. Up to 46 spirit defense from 38. I think that's very good. Squimmage always struggles because its spirit defense is awful. This allows it to spec a little more into whatever defense it wants to, while it still puts some stuff into spirit defense. I have a huge soft spot in my heart for Squimmage. I love Chicory Color for Tail. I love Splatoon. Squimmage is the guy ever. I love
using it. The Squid is getting
a
respectable position.
It's getting a respectable position, along with all the moveset buffs it got last patch, along with the Protean buff it got a while ago. Mimicry still kind of just sitting there, but hey.
I've seen some pretty impressive stuff with Mimicry.
Oh yeah, no, it can certainly do things. I do think Protean is still probably the better ability for most competitive stuff. But hey, it's good to see an upscale.
Mimicry is a lot like Trait Dance. To use it to its full capacity, you have to know the game well, and you have to determine. You have to determine what is. You have to look at the entire game a little differently from usual, because normally you think, okay, I can use this, I can use this. Now you can use all the traits are malleable. Everything, the rules are changed.
Yeah.
To use Mimicry to the fullest, something has to be not quite right with.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone here is particularly quite right. To be fair, I think we're all a little too deep in this.
Actually, you know what? Maybe to use Mimicry Squimmage is the opposite. Maybe something has to be more correct with you than it is for everyone else.
Sure, we'll go with that.
I honestly wonder if this is perfect time for me to do my Squimmage Squad kind of setup thing.
Full Squimmage playthrough? That sounds like a great time.
5 Squimmages.
Yeah, but
do something.
Anyway, could not be me. I am a prepared attack juggle energized girly all day. Plateon, demanding set removed, stat efficiency reduced by giving it a bit more body power, which it will never use. Body defense nerfed slightly, spirit defense nerfed slightly. I think this thing has been seeing a lot more use, especially with demanding set, and it has charge. I think this is cool because it makes it, I think, a slightly less defensive, if I'm not mistaken, charge option than Bealb. Bealb always has like really tough defenses. This one is going to be,
defensive before.
It already has some like its might attack isn't actually that good now that I think about it. But it always does a good job of sitting on the field. And Vicious is also a massive threat with Vicious Corner Shot being a huge thing.
As someone who ran Plateon demanding set, I will say it did not need that. My God, that was a little too perfect for my team.
All right, you heard it here. Moving on, Maraptor, body power nerfed by 2. Yeah, sure, whatever. Spirit power buffed. Why?
To justify the other stat changes, clearly.
I guess so. Mind power nerfed slightly. I'm a little sad to see its attacking stats nerfed, because I think something it had going for it over Noizard was the fact that it could be a more offensive option. But hey, I guess the more offensive set is usually going to be the Echo ones. So it's getting a huge damage buff there, so I don't think it's really going to notice those changes in most places where it matters, because the Clamor sets are usually not going to be running many attacking moves that aren't just utility.
I'm very excited to unleash offense Spike Maraptor. It doesn't need Clamor anymore.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to see people experiment with Echo. Sure.
Don't let Robin on the field for a minute. They're gonna commit crime.
I'm thinking about
83 body defense from 85. I'm a little sad to see that. Just because don't
let me.
Not a huge nerf, obviously, but. Seeing both of the Clamor Beasties have their body defense nerfed is a little sad when I guess a whole bunch of the body attacking moves, like scrolling back up, like the Hyper Spike and Dive nerfs mean that you don't need quite as much body defense anymore on your Clamor Beastie. So that's probably fine now that I think about it a little more. 88 mind defense from 91. Yeah, that's fine. Clamor Beasties getting nerfed as they probably deserve. Because, let's be real, Clamor is still very centralizing. And it's still really very centralizing.
Real good.
Turns out redirection is good.
Shout out to my man, Pro. He doesn't play this game, and you only know him because he drew my profile picture. But he is irrationally in love with Plumask, and I sent him the Stagecraft patch notes, and he's freaking out right now.
I am glad to hear that for him.
He's been ahead of the curve the whole time.
Oh, he foresaw this from minute 1 of Beastieball.
Masquerade
the underdog
buffs.
will rise. Masquerade buffs? What?
97 body defense from 82.
Oh.
88 spirit defense from 91. That's down a little bit. 54 mind defense from 50. I think with
I comprehend the change. I don't know if I like it, but I comprehend it.
I think the thing is, this does buff like Vigor Beam sets specifically. Making it harder to deal a bunch of damage with. But with the dive nerfs, I think dive was Juggle Dive, with Juggle being nerfed one patch ago and dive being nerfed this patch. I think Masquerade's main niche was kind of struggling a little bit. This also, I think, opens up some fun avenues for more supportive Masquerade sets because, it is a metamorph of Cheerilee. Cheerilee is, one of the best, offensive support beasties. Masquerade can do all of those things, too, besides Cheerleader. And so I think this gives it a reason to run it over Cheerilee and that it has some, better defensive stats than its pre-metamorph counterpart. So if you don't need that damage and you just want those support moves, like your Updraft, your Team Chant, your Introduce, etc., it's now a pretty viable option for that, which I think is super exciting. Lastly, Diablo, the threat, the overwrite nefarious squid guy. All 3 defenses nerfed by 3 points.
This is the part in the stream where I say, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? This clearly was an accident. I will do whatever in my power to get this mistake patched out of the game. You cannot do this to me.
Nero, apropos of absolutely nothing, were you a Diablo SRS user?
Oh, every single team I've run.
Yeah, cool.
Oh my goodness.
Every single team, without fail. All the ones I've actually played have or want Diablo shares. Why do you ask?
Was just wondering.
Okay. Yeah, no, I will do everything in my power.
I'm just curious who runs Diablo, because I know Nero and I do, but I don't know anyone else.
Dino has at least one very good Diablo team.
No, never mind. Justify.
Yeah,
Dino is extremely good at pinpointing the perfect way to make something scary.
Dino's really good at solving
Diablo, I think, is not a super high skill ceiling beastie, but it's a very high skill floor beastie. But if you can build the team to make it work, it is a massive threat with Overwrite Spitball. I think having its defenses a little lower is good stuff. It means that it can't just click Slyclone and Doze and live literally forever quite as easily. Realistically, is it still going to do that? Yes, but a little bit worse. So that's a good thing. I wouldn't be surprised to see it still be, you know, a very prominent force in the meta because, you know, beasties rely on their traits. Beasties rely on not being angry on offense, so they can click their volley moves, they can click their support moves.
Meanwhile, Shroom.
So it's still going to be very good, but it might not be quite as meta defining, which is good. Always love just the devs absolutely being very in touch with what's good in the meta and nerfing exactly that. I think the notable thing that didn't get hit very much this patch was probably Bandicraft, which had still been very, very good. Although you could argue that it still was because, hey, dump nerf. Not that Bandicraft always ran dump, but there were definitely some people who did run dump on Bandicraft, and it was certainly, you know, an option that made it more of a threat because suddenly you didn't have to run a sideways move on whatever you were running next to it.
I do like that.
I am blanking on who ran it, but during the Bring the Heat tournament, someone did bring double captains toward Anchor Bandicraft, both using dump, and it was very...
That's hilarious. I'm a huge fan of that.
Messed up. I do like the implications for this patch, as far as I've seen it, are just the things we can take away. Plumask is the child that I've always wanted, and the game, you have to think a little more when you play the game now. I like that.
Nero, you're gonna have to fight Robin for custody on that one real hard.
I will. Don't test me.
Honestly, I'm honestly the changes definitely seem pretty nice, but I'm still kind of sad that the best change, in my opinion, is still not in the patch notes.
Which is?
Patience getting at it as level up to the Goobler.
Oh, that was last patch.
Goobler?
But where is it in the patch notes? I'm trying to find it and I can't. Looked everywhere. I'm
I understand.
It's exciting stuff nonetheless. We love seeing Patience being accessible to casual players early game.
I am very interested. I am very interested in seeing more body attack on Hydrolm. That one surprised me quite a bit, but it does make sense. I personally run a power sap set that's mostly for defensive purposes, but this makes it significantly more threatening, you know?
This will be fun for, like, torpor shenanigans, I'm sure. And probably also like, Restoration Power Sap into Vigor Beam stuff.
Vigor Beam, yep. The drum.
Exciting things.
Pix, was it you or someone else who has that drum team?
Oh, it's Pix.
It's definitely me. If it's a drum team, most chances
drum team specifically making Hydrolm unkillable.
With patience on the Goobler, and I can teach it to the others. I can defeat Grandma without panicking because of the the
trick
Varkabon.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah, telekinesis.
I also do have the team where it's like it's a Hydrolm and 4 Fruit Folks, which I am eventually going to give all flight.
Very fun.
But why?
Because Pix hates everyone who has ever played an away team. Anyway,
basically, my big problem with the game is when people have fun.
You never want to play?
I love people having fun in this game, but also I was one of the 2 behind intro clamor, so like I can't really say very much.
Oh, I
On
don't
a related
remember
note, my biggest surprise was the fact that Dugout wasn't touched this patch. I'm guessing they're still cooking on that.
I mean, I think it was. Again, Dugout wasn't touched directly, but again, like I mentioned, the Heatwave nerf does affect Dugout significantly because most of the time when Dugout is run, it is run as unflappable next to a Heatwave user.
I can say the most common opening I've seen from Dugout players is just spamming Heatwave twice, and there is nothing I can do about it.
Yep.
So Nerve Strike versus the the Dugout now. Does that have any?
That too. I suppose
the implications are dazzling.
I have
Strike...
used this in the past. That's why I serve with Mystic on my team.
Exciting stuff. Yeah, that's true. Nerve Strike serve does demolish whatever uses Heatwave. That's fun stuff. Anyway, couple more fixes here.
They call that Buff Strike.
Beastie's now immune to all additional feelings when they are wiped. Very good.
Yes.
Nervous wiped getting patched out. That's good stuff.
Always nice.
Absolutely villainous the few times I've seen it in action.
Yep.
I have had words in my mind for the one time it has happened to me. I have held it back for the sake of the community.
Yep.
Me instantly getting 2 pointed.
That was always an interaction that existed in the game. Lastly, Skull Copy's stealthy trait will now fail to activate if the space they intend to move to is obstructed by a wall. That just makes sense.
That was more of an oversight as far as I can tell from
for sure.
People finding weird shit.
Yeah.
So that's the patch notes. They've done it again. They have created another patch which is incredibly in tune with the community. And what everyone's been running and what's been good. And imagine if any other game developer paid this much attention to balance. Holy heck, Greg. Holy heck, Damien. You two are fantastic. We do not deserve you, etc., etc.
It's so weird. I've never been so consistently popping off. When was the last time anyone here has ever popped off for a patch note?
I have an answer for you, Nero. Last time Beastieball got patched.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a lot. So there was a lot for me. The two big ones. Well, one of them because patience wasn't in the patch notes, but welcoming because impossible Iron Man.
Oh yeah, impossible.
Yeah, those were big pop-ups.
Slightly less doable Iron Man.
There's slightly less for I think the casual playthroughs in this. There aren't quite as many new things. Last patch was a lot of new stuff. This is a lot of tweaking to balance things, which is good stuff. We're in early access.
I like that rhythm of the so far. We're gonna add a lot of stuff for the casual players to get their teeth into, and then we're gonna help the competitive scene out a little bit. And then Quake also fixed a lot of things on its own. Mostly as someone who plays hyper offense, I do hate Quake, but it's really healthy because it just stops me from autopilot flexing the entire game.
Yeah,
you could also just run Bendiva.
Now listen here, you.
Yeah, again, the patience change is just nice, because again, you can't get it to post game, and one of the beasties that you can get at a decent level is the zombie in challenge modes.
It is quite deserved. The buff was quite deserved. I'm very happy about it.
Yeah.
So I can finally use it on the Demolipede.
Yeah, I am excited to
see eating well.
Yes, so you said Demolipede. Well. You said Demolipede like you were introducing the big bad evil guy of the campaign.
Also, I've been I've been looking at making a Plumask Dread team. And you know it can't really die from a single attack in Dread?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plumask learns Doze.
Exciting things.
I did not remember that it learned Doze. I thought it didn't for some reason.
Yeah, I was looking at its moveset.
Moth has been so busy being cute.
Stonks are going up.
Moth has been so busy being cute all day. It needs to take a little nap. Anyway.
A little nap, can they take it from demo while they're at it?
Anyway, I am going to wrap up stream here. If you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, thank you for watching. Go play some Beastieball. I am going to go find.
We are literally balling.
I am going to go find the link to this server, which I am currently voice chatting in, so I can throw it in chat. I need to scroll down and find it. There we are. That's going to be the link. Is this the current link? This looks like the current link. Let's throw that in chat.
Dread Rally teams are going to be
Dread Rally will be super interesting.
That's like Dread Rally. What's the opposite? What's the opposite of a stall team?
Yeah,
hyper offense.
Hyper offense. That sounds familiar.
All right. Thank you all for watching. Hope you have a good night or day or whatever time zone you may be in.
Good night, everybody.
Good night,
everybody.